Hello everybody. I'm teaching you how to be more ignorant, to become more like me and less like you, to live a good life. So, today's lecture is about, I'm gonna teach you relativity, right? What is relativity? We have to start back in the day where, my good friend Isaac, he had his abuelita, his mother, his sister, and all the ladies in town. They took care of all the made food and clothes and clean house and made money and everything. So Isaac could sit under a tree and think. And think and think and think and think. And he was sitting under a tree with my good friend, and I was oh Isaac, hello Isaac, and he's sitting under a tree, and I come to him around hey Isaac, what you doing? And he's sitting under a tree, thinking, physics, trying to be you cannot know everything, but there is people who should, except women, they know everything. But men, they write it down for other men so they know less, they are less not knowing. Okay, so I'm okay, so Isaac was doing an important work because everybody else was supporting him, all the ladies who already know everything. So he sits under a tree and I'm oh hey Isaac, what's up? And he's oh Maria, hello. And he's do you know what? An apple fall down on my head, and I don't know if it's because of the concussion and everything got shaken down and everything would have been observing and learning from you wise ladies and everything around. Finally I can see, and still with his masculine brain, he was seeing the in lines, in lines, not in the matrix and the dynamic of stuff we women brain, but in this all lines, enlightenment for all men, nice. Whoa, great Isaac, wonderful. So his model of seeing the world as linear, measuring the world in lines. Every guy in the history of the world has to come in his maturity to this point where they start seeing in lines, and that's a huge development for men. So okay, the apple falls down one line, Isaac one line, another line, third line, everything. So it helped all the men in the world. The next, it took them 200 years or something, to what they call the industrial revolution, right? Okay, cool. So, and this is in the mechanics of things. So they expressed themselves in a linear way, and they were very excited about that and everything. Okay, cool. So the lines, and then 200-300 years later, Albert was another dear good friend of mine. We went back in Bogota, we went to the same school for some time, cause he was a refugee sometime, and then before he got to other relatives, we all children of the world, we just get passed down, relatives, and he's oh, relatives. It's not he was experiencing life not in one line, like a woman. So, oh, okay. So, it's oh, okay, like you need a different energy for different things. Oh, there are like a lot of lines, all at the same time. So, oh, and he was like, oh, okay. He like observed, like what we women know all the time, but he like, oh, like out of his like linear brain, but he was able to like really like go so many times out of his body to realize, oh, relatives, 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 relatives. This is how you move along in life, you know? It's not like one line you get stuck. It's like this industrial revolution, like so many people are still stuck in this like, this very, very, very stuck environment, you know? You see? Like when nobody has energy, nobody. But like we women, we always have energy, cause like you need different energy for different thoughts, different stuff and everything, you know, energy, emotions, whatever. So, like for men, we look crazy cause they like can't comprehend that stuff. But like it's so simple for us, like the most primitive, the most uncultivated, uneducated woman is like, you know, it's like a masterpiece in like a transformative, in a dynamic body, you know? So, very big mystery to me, very big mystery, like, okay. But like, thank goodness, like there are like, we are creating those environments for or like, you know, less functional, less sufficient and functional developed mammals, like human males, that they like, we make them like beautiful, like, you know, like this almost autistic environments, so they can like, you know, realize themselves and like, you know, one day become a woman. Okay, so the Einstein, like the Albert my friend, he like, oh, relatives, he calls me up one time and is like, listen up, like, okay, listen up, like different energies, you know what, I subtracted that there are like I subtracted that, you know, you like the most like unit of like, you know, the dynamic unit is a unit of light, so like a photon or something, and the speed in which the photon moves. And so like, you know, if you speed of light, they call it speed of light, the c, and if you like put it up square, so like expand, you need to expand it like in every direction, expand square, and you multiply it with a stagnant matter, like whatever you find an unit that is like stagnant, like a man, or you know, like a brick. A brick is like, it looks like, okay, it's like very little dynamic. It's dynamic, but everything is dynamic, everything is energy and everything. But like he told us, and okay, this is like exactly, you know. So let me put it simply, relativity theory, you know. You are a piece of light. You are a piece of light. What you see now is like this matter, all the pieces of matter moving in a speed of light square. So I'm like thinking about you like I'm square, because I want you to live a good life. Like I live a wonderful, awesome life. Anyway, like being a woman, it's already like awesome. Like there's a like, you can't do anything. So, you are a piece of light and you matter. You understand? You matter so much. The probability of you coming into existence is like 1 to 400 trillion. You know? There are like more lot of millions chances than probability that you come into existence, like together in this form. So, like, you matter. You matter, and everything that matters to you, it's like, and you know, it's moving, it's dynamic, it's the speed of light. Because you matter and you are light. So, you multiply what matters to you with your light and you get energy. You understand? So, like, what energy do you need to do what thing? You multiply, you focus on that, and it's like, and you multiply it with your light. And that's it. That's relativity, you understand? It's all explained now. Now you understand. Now you can live a good life, be more like me, be less like you. And I wish you a wonderful day. I love you so much. You matter, you piece of light. You understand energy? Love you. Bye.